5 starters of the North Clarion She-Wolves girls basketball team that won the District 9 Class 1A title, and also went on to the quarterfinals of the PIAA. In case you're not sure who they are outside of uniform, we've got Abby Gatesman on the far side here, followed by Tori Obenrader, Michaela Higgins, Cassie Wagner, and Allie Carl. Just going to have a conversation here, ladies, about your season and what it really meant to you guys. Let's start with you, Michaela, as one of the seniors. You know, I know expectations were fairly high coming off of last year for you guys, but to realize everything that you had an opportunity to realize this year, what did it mean to you?
Yeah, the expectations were high last year. You know, we achieved a lot last year, but this year we wanted to go even further. We wanted to win KSAC and we wanted to win D9. We set out the goals at the beginning of the year, so we just hope to achieve them.
Cassie, you know, a year ago there was disappointment in the semifinals when you guys lost to Elk County Catholic. Did you guys use that as any motivation going into this year?
That was definitely a lot of motivation for us because it really hurt whenever we worked our butts off, like, to get there, and then to have that suddenly happen. And we knew we could have won that game, and it was just a disappointment when we didn't. So we wanted to work harder and go farther this year.
Allie, also as a senior, you know, when you guys set those goals going in and you knew that you were going to have to replace a couple of really good players from a year ago, what was your thought process in terms of stepping up?
I was going to have to work my butt off and try to really get, like, support the team as much as I could.
Tori, you knew that there was probably going to be more pressure on you this year. You know, you didn't have your yin to go with your yang as you had last year. What was your thought process with some of the, and it seemed like really early on you tried to get everybody else involved.
Yeah, that was kind of my goal, and I knew they all would step up with losing Abby, losing our highest scorer, and they knew they all would step up and make up for that.
Abby, last year you're an 8th grader and you're watching this group. you're watching this group, but you're not really part of it. How easy was it to assimilate with them?
You know, I followed them through every game. I took stats. You know, I felt like I really knew how they played, and you know, I felt that it could be easy to fit in. And you know, it was great watching them go as far as they did. And I think that, you know, I could come in maybe and they could help me out and we could do something special.
Girls, I know you probably watched Abby play in 7th and 8th grade. Did you realize right away that she was somebody that was going to be
Yeah. We were calling it that she was going to start this year in the summer league and like practice during the summer. We were like, this little freshman is going to start.
We probably put a lot of pressure on her.
What are some of the moments that stick out to you guys the most from the year?
Winning KSAC, winning District 9,
yeah.
Even winning that game against Cornell. Everyone's like, why you guys got so excited? It's like you won the state championship. We're like, we went the farthest anyone's ever gone. I was like, we were so excited.
When you look at it, you know, I go back to the double overtime game against Keystone up here, and I think about the video and Coach Dryhop going nuts and all of you going nuts. It seemed like from the early on part of the season, close games went your way. What would you attribute that to?
Just hard work, never giving up.
You know, and when you look back to those moments during the regular season, say the win over Keystone, maybe even the loss at AC Valley that I know was hard, and especially hard on you, Abby, regardless of whether that was actually a good call or not. And now that the season's over, we can talk a little bit about that. But you know, some of those regular season moments, how did those prepare you guys for your postseason run?
I mean, all those close games, I think they just gave us more experience, and especially like the AC Valley game, we had to play them another time and then another time for the playoffs. So I think our experience playing them the first time, we got to know them as a team because they're a really good team, so it helped us beat them in the playoffs.
And I think with how that game ended, Abby might have lost some confidence there for a little bit, but once she was able to make that winning shot for us in the KSAC game, that really regained her and got her the experience that she needed just being a freshman.
You know, talk about getting that KSAC win against such a good team like Montauk and a team that had beaten you guys earlier in the year up here.
We knew we wanted to really get back at them for beating us because that was when we all were healthy from the flu, and it was just a tough loss, and we really wanted to get it back.
You know, when you look at going into the District 9 playoffs, and you know, you start out with a team like Smethport that you don't really have any experience with at all. Is that more of a challenge when you're playing teams that you're not aware of as much as maybe somebody that you've played all the time, like in AC Valley?
Yeah, we talked about that a while ago, actually, going into the playoffs with how, with like AC Valley and like Montauk, you know what those girls do, you know what their moves are. You've watched them play more than one game film that you get from some other team. So you don't really necessarily know what exactly is going to happen.
And when you looked at the bracket and you saw that AC Valley was in the semifinals, it was a potential semifinal matchup. And the fact that they had beaten you and you had beaten them in a close game up here, was there any nerves going into a game like that against them?
I think there was definitely some nerves, because we knew what they were capable of, and we realized that probably should have been the championship game, but just how it played out. So I was definitely nervous that it was going to be like a replay of last year and we were going to get knocked out. But
AC Valley played like they had nothing to lose that game.
Yeah.
They played
They played great. Props to them.
They
yeah.
did. They're great.
They played good.
You know, you guys are down in that game in the third quarter, and I know there's a timeout, and I know, Michaela, according to Coach, that you you made a suggestion, and I know, Abby, that you also made a suggestion in that game. Talk about how the coaching staff has empowered you girls to feel like you can make those kind of adjustments in game and make those kind of suggestions. To me, that's a really good sign of a great team, is when players aren't afraid to say, hey, Coach, I think we need to do this.
Coach just really trusts us and knows that we're the ones on the floor and we know really what's going on. And, like, there's actually a game I yelled at him to put Cassie back in. I thought for a second Cassie was going back in, but I was coming out. but yeah. Yeah, he just trusts us to be able to make those kind of calls.
He knows that we're like smart enough to understand what's going on actually in the game to make calls like that.
It seems like the chemistry of this team, at least from the outside, it seemed like the chemistry of this team was phenomenal.
We're all close.
Yeah, we all get along so well.
We don't fight.
Yeah,
we always
no drama.
We always joke that there's no drama on this team. You know, we always say like no boyfriends during basketball.
Yeah, no boyfriends during basketball.
They cause drama and between your team.
How important was that team chemistry for your success?
It's so important because when you're able to bond off the court, you're able to bond on the court too, and you can read what each other's going to do, and that really helps.
You know, when you look at the excitement level, you know, you guys talked about it a little bit, jumping up and down, you know, when that clock ticked down, even though the game was well in hand, when that clock hit 0 against Otto Eldred and you had that first ever district title in North Clarion girls basketball history, what's going through all your minds at that point?
Oh, I don't even know.
I was so proud.
Yeah, I was just proud of everyone on the team. And I got to give credit to even the JV girls that don't even really get into those games because they work us out in practice every day, and they deserve the credit too that we get. And they really it was so exciting. It's not even, I can't even put it in words.
Just trying to sink it all in.
Yeah, it was. Even for KSAC, there was like days after you're like, it just hasn't sunk in. We don't.
The feeling never really leaves us.
I'm probably going to embarrass Tori a little bit here, but you know, what's it like for the rest of you to play with one of the best players in the state of Pennsylvania? And let's be
honest. Coach always yells at me in practice because I just stand out 3-point line, just watch her drive, and
You have to watch her.
You just gotta watch.
And he yells at us for that. He's like, you just can't stand and watch Tori.
You just learn so much from her and the way she plays, and she's not just a leading scorer. She also hands out multiple assists a game. She makes all of us better, and that's just something that anyone that watches her play can learn from.
You know, Cassie, I think that's a great point and leads into the, you know, Tori, and I did touch on this a little bit, but I remember talking to you, Michaela, after the first game in Brookville, and we talked about, you know, just Tori getting everybody else involved. It's rare. I mean, you're 16, maybe 17 years old, Tori, for somebody who's as talented as you to understand the importance of getting everybody else involved. Where did that come from?
It's always been something, especially with watching my brother Mitch play, that's something he always did, was because he knew they were going to try to focus on him, and he knew that if he got the other players involved, that it wouldn't work for them, whether they focused on him or not.
You know, I know the rest of you play other sports too, but it seems like basketball is the #1 sport for most of you, if not all of you. Would that be the case?
Yeah.
Even more when we're in other sports, we're still going to open gyms. We're still practicing.
I heard some of the underclassmen have already asked when open gyms start.
Yeah, that is true.
2 weeks.
It was your sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like he said at the end of the game against Bishop Carroll, he said, "We've been practicing since March. This has been a year of basketball, and so we never really take a break, and I think that really leads to some of our success."
When you look at the PIAA playoffs, you come out, can you draw up 20-0?
Oh,
No.
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 Not at all.
You know, when you're beating Sewickley Academy 20-0, what's going through? I mean, how do you keep the focus on something like
and
that?
I think it kind of showed in the beginning of the first half that we kind of did lose focus there for a second, and Coach let us know we lost focus. But yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
You then move into the second round, and now you're going to Slippery Rock. You know, you had played so many games it felt like in a row at Clarion. I know you had the one game in Smethport against Smethport that wasn't there, but it seemed like you played so many games in a row at Clarion. Now you're going to Slippery Rock, and then they say it's going to snow.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't snow here.
I was really upset about that, actually.
How difficult is that when you're all geared and ready to go, and then you have to wait, and then you're not, and then even then you're not sure what's going to happen?
It was hard to keep ourselves focused, especially in practice, because we knew we had to prepare for them, but there's only so much you can do for it.
You guys get to Slippery Rock, and it's about as loose of a bunch as I've ever seen. You know, I've been doing this almost 20 years. Again, I'm going to age myself here, but I've been doing this almost 20 years, and I can't remember ever seeing a bunch as loose as you guys prior to a second-round state playoff game.
Pretty sure I showed Abby how to throw the shot. It's just something that we've always worked on. I mean, we all get nervous before games.
Yeah, it's a way to shake the nerves.
We're to shake the nerves.
We got nothing to lose.
Especially in a gym like that.
And then, you know, and I know this is a little more tough to talk about, but the Bishop Carroll game and the start, were you did the moment just maybe get to you guys a little bit?
I'm not gonna lie, that was the most nervous I've ever been in my life. I think it was just how packed the gym was, because I feel like we've had more fans watch us, but not in that kind of area where it's so packed and it's so loud and they're so close to the court. I really think nerves got to us.
And yet, that being said, and I've said this numerous times to people that I've talked to over the last couple of days, teams get down by 23, especially in girls basketball, and against a team like Bishop Carroll, and they just fold. And you guys did the opposite. What was the message going on at halftime? What was the message going on the court? What were you guys saying to each other?
I mean, I think we were just saying, like, we don't want this to be our last game. We have to keep fighting for it just because we're down by 23. We've come back from deficits before. We can come back from this.
Did you guys feel like at some point that maybe that game was a shot away from completely changing to you?
Oh, yeah. We had it down within 6 points. If we just would have had more time, I feel like our momentum would have kept us going and we would have took the lead and then hopefully have probably won the game.
You know, I know that's a hard way for the seniors to go out, but, you know, when I look at the three of you, what are you guys most proud of?
I'm just proud of everyone on the team.
I'm proud of everything we've done.
Yeah,
that's what I was telling her right after the game. I was like, it's terrible the way it ended, but we have to think about the positive. Look at everything we accomplished. We accomplished almost every single thing that we wanted to do this year except a state championship game. Like, that's something to be so proud of.
And for the two of you that are underclassmen, you know, what do you, when you look at how close you came to beating a Bishop Carroll team that some feel can win the state title, do you feel that you guys should be part of that conversation next year?
Yeah, I really do. It's something that, like Cassie said, we were so upset after that game, but there's nothing really to be upset about. And especially, I kept telling people, I have another year. Like, I get to come back. Like, they should be more upset than I am. But it's losing these three and another senior is gonna really take a toll on us. And I kept telling Abby, we can come back next year. We'll get it next year.
You know, when you look at that, how much work is going to have to be put in there? What did you learn from the state playoff run that maybe you weren't aware of?
It's a lot of hard work, and like we got to get other girls willing to put in the amount of work that is needed. And I really think we have girls that are willing to do that.
You talked, Tori, about the amount of people following you and things, and it just seemed to grow and grow as the playoffs went on. What did that mean to you ladies?
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, we were talking about how much we loved how, us just playing a game of basketball brought the community together, and, everybody came out and supported us.
On our night home from Bishop Carroll, we were escorted back to the school with fire trucks and sirens to the community, and we had fans waiting at the doors. And before the game, there was a big sign painted by Eddie Bumkratz that said "Let's go She-Wolves" on it, and it just shows how much they care about us.
Obviously, and I know your guys are on social media and see all this stuff sometimes, but I don't know if you saw any of this, but like a lot of the players, like your cousin Wendy, sorry Wendy, and the players that she played with, they all seem to really articulate to you guys, and does that give you kind of an idea of what this might be like for you guys 20 years from now, 30 years from now?
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be kind of like something we can play back through because we know the feeling.
We were talking about whenever we're parents coming back to the school and looking in the trophy case at like our team picture and realizing
a necklace was found in the home.
Is that your necklaces? These are always the cool things when you're at school. You're in the middle of a great interview and then you get
tonight at 6 p.m.
But like looking at our team picture and just thinking back.
Please ask your parents to attend. Coach Weiser and Coach
ladies,
Alderson
as obviously we're not going to want to compete with the announcements for this anymore, but really appreciate you taking the time to meet with us here and give your thoughts on the season.
And
now for your 2017 Class A District 9 Girls Champions, the North Clarion She-Wolves. Number 1, Mackenzie Bauer. Number 2, Haley Bush. Number 3, Michaela Higgins. Number 4, Kira Stitt. Number 5, Sierra Manross. Number 10, Megan Baumkratz. Number 12, Gabby Schmader. Number 13, Gina Caldwell. Number 14, Gabby Carl. Number 15, Cassie Wagner. Number 20, Abby Gatesman. Number 22, Lindsay Zockrell. Number 23, Faithlyn Vanek. Number 24, Tori Oldenreiter. Number 31, Allie Carl. Number 32, Haley Sherman. Number 34, Zoe Shield. Assistant coach, Terry Obenrader. And head coach, Terry Dryhoff. And now, Miss Bonnie Wilbert, District 9 committee member and athletic director at North Clarion High School, will present your 2017 Class A Girls District 9 Championship plaque to your North Clarion She-Wolves.